Welcome everybody to our bi-weekly MUFO Action Plan webinar series. My name is Andrew Chee. I'm the Director of Field Development for Canada, and I'm joined here tonight with the very talented person that's been here since day one, Mr. Kevin Buckman. Kevin, always a pleasure to be able to work with you and train with you and to build with you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, tonight, ladies and gentlemen, well, in the chat, tell us where you're from. Looks like we've got folks in from New York City, from North Carolina, great, Los Angeles, so all across the United States. Welcome, great to see you. And tonight, Kevin and I will be talking through prospecting, qualifying, and sponsoring. This is an important, a very important part of our business as it starts to expand our points of distribution, and it creates leverage for the average person to create a way above average results. So this is the main event of the evening: prospecting, qualifying, and sponsoring. Kevin, first question I got for you: why is it important that we prospect and then qualify and then sponsor in that order?
Well, prospecting, you're trying to find a market. When you're prospecting, you're trying to identify a market. You're looking for people to expand your business, leverage your business. We all start out when we start and establish our business. When you think about it, to go through the entire cycle one time, we've got to create 10,000 BV, correct? 5,000 on the left, 5,000 from the right. That's 10,000. But we all start in the same spot when we establish our own franchise. It's all, it's 10,000 for everybody. And the way to best, generate that is not one person, being responsible for generating 10,000 BV. So what we want to do is we want to expand sales distribution channels so that, we can get more and more partners participating, and offloading and breaking that 10,000 up. So, when we have two people, it only takes 5,000 each. We get 4 people, we're looking at, 2,500 each. When we get 10 people, it's 1,000 each. When it's 20 people, it's 500 each. So every time we bring in, and onboard a new business partner, what it does is it reduces the amount, of volume that each person has to generate within your organization,
Right.
In order to get through that cycle. But it's all about leveraging.
Mm-hmm. And in that process, like we start with prospecting, and we qualify we qualify the people along the way, because not everybody is a right fit for your business and for your organization. And we sponsor a handful. I think I heard once, was it Amber Yang that said, we prospect everybody. And we qualify a handful, and we sponsor, sponsor a few.
Right. It's not, because what happens is not everybody's going to be participating in creating that volume, nor maybe are they in the market for a part-time business. So they may not be looking for that. And there's no reason to bring someone on if they're not going to be a productive entity. So, there's one, we're identifying with prospecting, and then the qualifying part is to see whether or not they're going to, does it look like they're going to be a productive entity if I brought them on board?
Right. I love that. And, on that note, when we talk about prospecting, where do we start? Well, a great place to start, team, is through, creating a names list. And, this could be, build a list with your warm market, build a list with people that you can immediately contact. Either you've got your phone number, you're connected with them on a social media platform. And, this could be friends, family, neighbors. It could be people from high school that college classmates. As we're building this list, Kevin, I believe like most people or most new and franchise owners fall into the trap of when we say, let's build a names list, they think, or they're thinking, let's build a top 10 list, or let's build a list of people that would be interested to
Right.
partner with me in my business venture. And that's not
You're
what we're doing in the beginning, right?
No, we're just, all we want to do is we just want to build a names list. And I think everybody, if they access their phone, I mean, I'm just making an analogy. If you access your phone, your, Christmas card list or your, whatever you address book, you'll have, everybody has at least 100 names, in there. And we just want names, we don't know whether they're going to be prospects. The new business partner doesn't know whether they're going to be a prospect. I don't know whether they're going to be a prospect. We just need a list so that we can go through and, and with your senior partner and talk about, why, what do you think, what their interest, what would be their interest, would it be do you think there would be a product? Do you think they might have an interest in, doing something there with their financial situation? But it's just, it's a process you get, you get with your partner and you kind of percolate, if you will, that names list to see what comes to the top and then arrive at a top 10, top 20, list and it's friends, family, neighbors, teammates, people that you work with, high school, everybody, it doesn't matter. You don't know who may be interested or not interested, are going to be a productive entity in the business. I mean, the first 18, 20 people I talked to in the business, it was amazing to me. I had been at this nuclear plant for 13 years. And the first 20 people I talked to, what I found was 18 of them had been doing some form of a direct sales networking business. And not one of them in 13 years had ever approached me about it. Which means that they never put me on the list, because what they did was they fell into the trap that you're talking about. They only picked people that they thought might be interested. Okay.
Right.
And again, I never made to the list because they prejudged, pre-qualified.
Yeah, well, you're a tough name to put down to a list, Kevin. Let's I think we're that. But having said that, you would have been such an asset in any organization. Now, speaking, you talked about the trap. This is what happens when we don't start off with a names list. Found that what happens is, when most people start, and I know this the same because I went through it myself. When we don't build a names list, the natural progression is, I'm going to think of my buddy John, that I went to school with. We're good friends, and I'm going to tell him about this business that I started, and I'm going to see if and I'm going to ask him to join in with me. And when I make that first approach, John might not be the right person. He tells me no, flat out. The second person I'm thinking of is Mary. I approach Mary, she tells me no. The third person I'm thinking of might be might be Victor, and I go talk to Victor about it. He tells me to go fly a kite. And what happens now is I come to the conclusion, after 3 people saying no to me, I come to the conclusion that I cannot build this business. So that is unfortunately a trap that most new business owners go through if they're not working with a professional senior partner that tells them, that teaches them to build a names list first, because that list of 100 names or to 300 names is not a contact now list. That list is a possibilities list. We never know who's going to be, that from that list, we're going to identify your customers. We're going to identify people that are going to refer people to you, and we're going to identify people that are not, may have nothing to do with your business. But from that list, we're also going to identify your top 10 through what Kevin talked about, which is analyzing the names list with a senior partner.
Yeah, I mean, you're so right. It's not people, what they do is you got to think about the logic here. Okay. A brand new business partner just established their unfranchised. They have not had any experience in the business, yet they are actually falling into the trap of trying to pick from their names list who would and who wouldn't be successful in this business. What's their knowledge experience about the business, you see. That's why you need to work, and really build this names list with the senior partner.
Right. So Kevin, let's say I come to you with a list of 100 names. How do we identify the top 10? What are some of the traits you're looking for that would qualify somebody to get into the top 10?
Okay. Well, first I'd start with what are we looking for? Okay. This is about prospecting, qualifying, and sponsoring. So I'm not really going to get too far into the product end. But what are we looking for? We're looking for people. I would say to someone, let's say to you, and we're building a names list. Andrew, off of this list of 127 people, which ones, let's just put a tick mark by each name that has communicated in a conversation or a dialogue when the last month, 2 months, 3 months that you've had a communication with has communicated that they're maybe looking, to improve their financial situation. They were complaining maybe about not getting paid enough at work, or, the bills are piling up and, they just can't, whatever it may be. Let's take a look at that. People that have indicated that they're looking to improve their financial situation, we would go there. Then the next thing I would maybe ask, so we'd have 5, 6, 7, 8 that come to mind. Then I would say, if there's anyone that has a very has been in business, owns a business, very business oriented. I'd be looking for people. Which one, are there any teachers here, educators, that type of thing. So that's what, I'm looking for there. I'm looking for people that, can teach, people that can educate, people that have a need, from a financial standpoint. I'm looking for those people that could make a big impact right away that we're aware of based on what you know.
Right. Okay, great. And from there, we've identified 10. So now what we do with this 10 is, again, I love that you said, who are the people that you've been in contact in the last several months that have indicated to you. So that means I have, it's been recent contact. It's not somebody that I haven't spoken to in 3 years or 4 years, and I'm just calling them up to evaluate my business plan right now. It's people that I'm meeting and speaking to, on a frequent basis. So now we'll approach the top 10 with the help of my senior business partner. And what happens to everybody else on the list?
Well, what we do is then we're going to rank. We're going to rank them with respect to the strength of that relationship. People that that aren't on the top 10. Okay, how often do you see them? Okay, what's your relationship? What's the strength of the relationship? All the way down to people that they're on my list. I know them. I could probably contact them, but I don't see them very often. Haven't seen them in 5 years. But the relationship's strong enough I could reach out. Okay, so what we do in a descending order based on the strength. Okay, and what you're going to be doing is you're going to reach out to those people, and you're going to make contact, because what we want to do is we want to make those contacts more frequent than they have been in the past, because what you want to do is engage in conversation with them, find out what's going on in their lives, what's relevant, people love to talk about challenges they're having. So, they'll talk if they know you're willing to listen and you're sincere when you reach out. So that's what you're going to be doing in the meantime. The approach to the 10, the approach will be dictated based on, their need. Okay, based on the need that we're aware of, or you're aware of and have made me aware of. Okay, that's how we're gonna, if it's financial, we'll approach it that way. If it's something that we really think that they could be a tremendous asset to the business, and they would be great at the business. Let's say they're a teacher or, coach, whatever it may be, we'll contact them and we will approach them based on, what they could bring to our business.
Right. Now, in preparation for the approach, it's important for us to develop some kind of a clear method to communicate your why. And, we call this a 2-minute commercial, but it really is like a 30-second commercial. So instead of rambling on about, what you're doing and all that, and people eventually tuning out, here's a great example of, a 2-minute commercial, a 30-second commercial. In the conversation, you might bring up, I was sick and, I started my business because I was sick and tired of living month to month on a salary that never seemed to grow. And I started this business because I wanted to create a second income to take the stress out of the month. What a great way to communicate your reason of doing something, because people, what's that very famous saying? People don't buy what you do, they buy why
You're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And sooner or later it'll get around. They'll ask you, Kevin, what was it that made you, what was it that brought you to Market America? What was it that, motivated you to create a Market America on franchise, and this is not your why is not your goals. Okay. Those are not your goals and all the things you'd like. Your why is what inspired you to even look for, something to do in addition to what you're currently doing.
Right. And I couldn't help but notice that in there, Kevin, you had things that you wanted to do, like spending more time with your family, but you also had pains in there, because sometimes the pain is, more appealing to.
You got to get, the thing is time's money. In other words, to have free time, you have to have no financial obligations that require you to create money to satisfy those and meet those obligations.
Right. So, team, if you're getting started today, here's a very relevant example of a 2-minute commercial today. Was feeling the pinch whenever I go out to the grocery store. I realized that things are more expensive now, and it's becoming more and more difficult to keep up with the expenses. Hence, I started a business to create an additional stream of income to make, to help make ends meet. Like that could be, a potential 2-minute commercial that is relatable, because the key thing is to create curiosity, start a conversation around it, and when people can relate to it, then it gives them a reason to want to look at what you're doing as well. But Kevin, what stops a lot of people from bringing up the business, because we don't want to have to be put on the spot to answer what is it. It's quite it's a very, I know this never happens to you, but it's a very common thing that
for most people it's very, the business model is very difficult maybe to describe, because it's really not exactly like anything, so that's why people kind of reluctant to approach people, because they're afraid, they're going to be asked, what is it? But you got to have it, I'd say just keep it simple. Okay. Right. Keep it simple. I like to use what we have in the unfranchised business presentation. I just say, we're a product brokerage internet marketing company that specializes in one-to-one marketing. Okay, well, that's a mouthful. And the reason I like to do that is because it begs 3 questions. What's product brokerage? What do you mean by internet marketing? And what do you mean by one-to-one marketing? Well, it allows me to prolong the conversation. So I get to explain a little bit more about those three concepts that make up what we really are.
Right.
And in the end, I tell them, we call it the unfranchised business for a reason. We're more, if I had to pick something that we were really like, I would have to say we're more like a franchise than we are anything else.
Mm-hmm. Right. And your what is it? Like you said, it was a mouthful, but it wasn't a lot. It was short and it's intriguing. And it did exactly what you intended to do, which is the goal is to start and continue dialogue. So it brought up some themes. And here's a plug, team. Look for, if you've got, get access to the Unfranchised Business app and go to your Unfranchised Media and look for the audio, or go to YouTube and look for the audio Learning to Talk in Themes. That's a great classic that we have in our audio library. Now, when it comes to another way the business could come up is through, when you're meeting somebody and through conversation, or it could be somebody you haven't met in a while. Hey, Kevin, what do you do now? It's been a while since we last got together. Or if it's somebody brand new, you're meeting at a networking event. After introducing yourself and talking, doing a little bit of small talk, it's always very natural to bring up the question, what do you do? And when you bring up that question, especially at a networking type setting, it's very common. I'd say 90% of the time, they ask you back, what do you do? So that's the perfect, again, a perfect opportunity for us to introduce, the concept of the unfranchised business.
And it's critical that you have an answer to what do you do, because that question to someone else is the best catalyst to getting a conversation and dialogue going, with respect to finding out about the individual that you're talking to see whether or not they might be in the market for the business or a product that you sell and represent.
Right.
I always, that's what I initiate all the time. Anytime, I'm on the plane a lot, and I sit next to strangers all the time, and it's a great icebreaker and everything. Are you going home? Are you going to Seoul for business, or South Korea for business, or are you going back home? What do you do? And they're now making a trip, for business. Oh, well, what do you do? And then I, find out, I can get the conversation going and then ask questions. And what happens is pretty soon you become very knowledgeable about, what this individual that you're talking to, what they're doing, what's important to them, why they're doing what they're doing. And more times than not, 90% of the time, like you said, they're going to come back after, you've given them their time. They're going to, well, what do you do? Why are you headed to South Korea? Well, South Korea. Well, I'm just laying over. I'm on my way to wherever. But the point is it's all about conversation and just getting the dialogue going and uncovering, what the needs are of the individual you're talking to, what's current, what's important, what's relevant to that individual right now.
Right. And here's a great example that anybody in any profession can use. But what I am focused on, or what I'm excited about, is a business that I just started. And notice that, it's a short answer. It's not a full job description of what an unfranchised owner does. It's, I'm a teacher, but what I'm really excited about is a business that I started on a part-time basis. And that naturally, again, creates more dialogue. But once that dialogue may or may not lead to more interest, but more often, oftentimes it will lead to someplace interesting. And when they here's how you know that they're interested. They keep asking questions about what you do. So when they're asking a lot of questions, it's a great time to set the appointment. Here's how you can do it. Say, that's a great question. I don't have time right now to explain. I'm here at a networking event. We'd love to connect with more people, as well as I'm sure you do. But can we get together another day? Can we get together on Monday or Tuesday? Which day works better for you? great opportunity. Set the appointment. Again, no pressure. Grab coffee, and if they're interested, that's a great sign that it may lead to potential referral, a potential customer, or even a potential business partner. Once you have their interest, that's a great step to take. Now, let's move to approaches, Kevin. We've got lots of approaches in the business. There's the product approach. There's the direct approach. There's the the referral approach. But one of our favorite approaches right now, and it can be used for for most anybody, is the evaluation approach, right? So here's an example of the evaluation approach, team. It's I'm expanding. It could be somebody that you recently just met, but you've made a good connection, and you said, let's get. You said, would love to get together with you again at another date. But if we didn't set the appointment, we can always reach back out and say, hey, John, listen, I'm expanding my business, and would love for you to evaluate it. It may or may not be for you, but you probably know the right people that I'm looking for. Can you help me out? And in this scenario, it's very difficult for people to say, no, I don't want to help you out, because most people are have an innate urge to be useful and be helpful to others. So this is a great way to get anybody to look at the business plan without putting pressure on them.
Yeah, and when you're approaching somebody, you want to keep. I just got to tell you, you want to keep the words to a minimum, as possible, because when you start to do too much and flounder around, it's like it makes it seem like you're not quite sure what you're looking for, and it starts to make people apprehensive. I use something that's very, very simple. Okay. If I was approaching Andrew Chee, I knew, and I don't care if Andrew was number 99 on my list of 100. Okay. He's on my list. There's one thing I definitely know about Andrew. Okay. 100% I know on all 100 names I have on my list. And that is, I know where they reside. Okay. So I know that I haven't talked to Andrew in 3 years, 5 years. We used to work together at a bank somewhere or whatever, but I know he's in Toronto. Okay. The easiest, simplest way is, hey, Andrew, long time, gosh, it seems like, whatever, but I tell you what, I started a business. I'm looking to expand in the Toronto area, and I was wondering if you could help me out by taking a look at what I'm doing to see whether or not you may know some of the right people for expansion. That's it. Okay. I'm going to be in Toronto, next Tuesday through Sunday. I'd love to get together for maybe 30 minutes just to share with you, what I'm doing, to see if you could help me.
What a great way, to approach without, putting much pressure on me. That's that's a yes for sure.
You can't help me. You can't help me.
Yeah.
Identify people if you don't know what I'm doing.
Right.
And I don't have time to do it over the phone. It wouldn't do, the business justice. What I just need to do is meet with you for 30 minutes, and I can show you exactly how it works.
Right. So now we get together, and it's time to share the business. In other words, to present the plan. And we want to make sure that this is actually the easy part of expanding the business, because the plan is the plan. So there are several ways to presenting the business plan. There is the unfranchised business presentation in PowerPoints. You also have that available on the flip chart. The same presentation is available on YouTube as a video. There's a 20-minute video that presents the plan as well. So there are multiple ways to show the plan. I've seen people show the plan using sugar packets at a coffee shop. That was Scott Grogan who did that. But all in all, Kevin, there are several ways of doing this that helps maintain duplication in the organization. So what's your favorite way
Well,
of presenting?
my favorite way is what's the most duplicatable. And the one thing everybody can push play. And, we have a 19-minute unfranchised business presentation that is available. You can get on YouTube and download it. But that 19-minute presentation gives you an overview of the business model, introduction and overview of the business model. Okay. It goes for about 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes. You push pause. It comes and it stops right where, we have what we call a 2 to 3 year plan versus solely relying on the 40 to 45 year plan. Would you like to see how the 2 to 3 year plan works? Okay. Then there's 12, 13 minutes that follow with basically how you establish an unfranchise, how you're compensated for the time, energy, and effort. And it's all done in 19 minutes. Now, all we're trying to do is get people to evaluate the business. And that is one of the best ways to evaluate the business. Okay. Because it's short, it's sweet, it's to the point, it's accurate. There's nothing in there. It's just boom. And what it does is it gets the topic that you want to converse about. It gets the topic, okay, out on the table in a very efficient, effective manner so that you can get on with the most important meeting after the first meeting, which is, what's the next step? Is there an interest? Okay. Answering questions. Okay. That's where you want to really start conversing, finding out, what their interest, what they found appealing, what they found that, they didn't find appealing, and really get to talk about the business. Okay. Because it's already there and it's something that anybody can do. Anybody can push play. And let me tell you what, the more you watch it, the more you know about the business. And that's my favorite. I use it for one-on-ones, two-on-ones. I even use it in HBPs. I just throw it up on everybody's got a big screen, TV screen now. I throw it up there and we do it around, the coffee table. But it really makes things go, quickly.
Right.
And that's really what you want.
That's a great point. I remember when I was brand new in the business. My mentors, my senior partners were predominantly Mandarin, Mandarin speaking. So when it came to presenting the business plan, I had to learn that on my own, like how to show the plan. Luckily, I was so happy and appreciative that the company came out with the business plan videos. This was back then, was in the DVD. Used to pop in the DVDs, and then the video would run for about 26 minutes. We'd pause at certain points to elaborate on some parts of it. But here's the thing: I could start showing the business plan right from day one because we had the videos accessible. Now, fast forward 6 months into the business, I'm showing the plan in a home business presentation, and I find myself saying the same things that the video did. And I couldn't help myself, but I couldn't help but chuckle because I sounded like I knew the whole thing. But that's exactly what you were saying, Kevin. The more you use it, the more you show it. You can't help.
Well, it's funny, the whole idea of the video came up. I got to tell you, it came up when I have my 3-year-old granddaughter sitting in the car seat in the back, and I pushed on the radio, turned the music on, and a song came up, and she didn't like. She says, "No, Poppy, a different channel, different." So I kept funneling, and she goes there. And anyway, the music was playing. Next thing I know, she's singing the song. You with me? In other words, she knows the song. Okay. And she's singing the song. Another song came on. She's singing the song again. And I'm thinking to myself, the more you hear something, the more you can repeat it. And I was like, wow, imagine if we had, because back then, if you couldn't draw it out on paper, or you
Right.
couldn't,
Yeah.
you didn't have the confidence to go through, a PowerPoint, presentation, you were kind of like not able to participate in a result
Right.
producing activity. And I'm thinking, imagine if we could empower, give something, perhaps something that would allow people to empower themselves to actually participate in exposing the business to as many people as possible. And in time, the more they hear it, the more confidence they'll build up, because the more they'll know it. And that's really, it was like, wow, Paige, I can't, okay. So Marty and I went to Atlanta.
That's incredible. So showing the plan part really is the easy part. It's the plan, like we said. But where the work really is the important meetings are before the meeting and after the meeting. So before the meeting, here are a couple points to let them know. Let your prospects know ahead of time. Let them know that there's no pressure. It's just informational only. This way it brings the walls down and they see it for what it is. Don't jump straight before the meeting. Don't jump straight into showing the plan. Ask questions first. Learn about each person. When you're at an HBP, a home business presentation, the speaker should get there earlier and be ready to mingle a little bit with the guests before jumping right into showing the plan. And if you're trying to learn more about somebody, a great format to follow is to use form. Ask about family, occupation, recreation, and money. But ladies and gentlemen, people will be attracted when you show that you care, and that you're genuine, and that you're passionate and you believe in your business. So before the business, make sure to ask those questions and build rapport. Do
Yeah.
you have anything to add
Well, I
to?
would just say, just to always remember, people want to buy, they don't want to be sold. Okay. So,
Right.
the whole idea is you're looking to see whether or not there is a market with this individual, a market. Are they in the market? Are they in the market? Do they have a demand? Do they have a need? Do they have a want? Or do they have a desire, to purchase your product, buy your product? They want to buy, they don't want to be sold. So what you need to do is try to discover whether or not they're in a market, or possibly in the conversation, you might be able to create a market by, basically communicating a few things that all of a sudden get them to think, well, maybe I ought to take a look at something. Maybe there is a reason for it. So the thing is it's about identifying whether or not there is a demand or a want. If they want, then they're going to be more inclined to buy. You sell them. I mean, I'm just sharing this with experience. First 50, 60 people I brought into the business, I sold them. I sold. I didn't even find out whether they're in the market, never took the time to inquire, never took I just knew I wanted to sign them up.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
I did, and within 90 days, all of them. I don't mean most of them. I'm talking about every one of them were gone.
Wow.
So I'm just telling you, it wasn't until I started using the evaluation approach, finding out if they were in the market for something like this, and then just say, hey, okay, I'd like you to evaluate it and let's talk about it. Okay, no pressure, no anything. Even if somebody looked at it and said, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm a 15. That's how excited. What's it take to get started? Okay. Well, let me tell you what it takes to get started. What it takes to get started is, let's put 2 to 4 people in front of this video to see if they are in it as interested as you think they might be.
Hmm.
That's what it takes to get started.
Right. Well, and during the evaluation, like we said, the video, it's the easy, that's the easy part. There are a couple of things that we keep in mind. Let people know that where they're not going to be in business by themselves. Like whether it's whether it's somebody evaluating it for themselves, or whether they're evaluating it to see who they know. Let them know that we have a team ready to support, and we'll be leading the charge. We also want to explain how the system will help, how we have resources that support our partners and help them grow their customer base. Let them know that some people will be skeptical. This is a crucial part because it builds it is what it is. And then if and when they do face skepticism or negativity, it only validates you a little even more, because you did tell them about it ahead of time.
And
Now,
one thing I would like to bring up is make sure when you let's say in my case, I always, I always have a flip chart with me. Okay. Multiple flip charts, so that I can use for, when they're evaluating it and I'm in the meeting after the meeting. If I want to make a point, you're in business for yourself, but not by yourself. In other words, everybody above you has a vested economic interest in your success. So they're all going to be looking to help you in any way they can. Okay. Right. And I will flip over to in the flip chart and have a Sharpie there and everything, and show them, no matter how deep you are in the organization, you have all these people that they're interested in you being successful. They would love for you to be getting to 5 and 5, as often as possible, 5,000 and 5,000. The reason I say that is because, if I can use the flip chart to demonstrate why that is, and at the same time, they've already seen it. Okay, then this really brings it to life.
Right. Funny you say that. I do the same thing with the presentation slides when Matt comes down below everybody else. And that's a great point in the presentation to show them that there will be support. It's by design. They will have support. But hey, at the end of it, ask if they know anyone that may be interested in evaluating. Just like you said, here's how you get started. Let's put this video in front of 2 people and have them evaluated, because everybody is a window. We would love for it to be that everybody that we sponsor, that we bring in, is the one to do it. But I learned the hard way that it's not. Not everybody that you sponsor will be the one to do it, but they will be the one to lead you to the one.
Correct. More oftentimes than not, the person that leads you to the person is really your star, if you will. Right. Normally, their sponsor has already left.
And the no decision close is it does you a favor. It doesn't just do them a favor. It does us a favor as well. But it makes sure that we're bringing on the right people, and we're not dragging people or carrying people along the whole journey. But here's a simple way to do it. Let them know after the meeting. Don't worry about understanding everything. If you understood everything, you'd be the smartest person in the world. I had to see this thing 6 times to get it. But the most important thing was that you chose the 2 to 3 year plan. Now, there's no decision to be made today, not a $20,000 decision, not a $2,000 decision, not even a $200 decision. The main thing is that if you don't do anything, everything will stay the same. But here are the next steps. Let's get more information, try some of the products, and give the business a trial run. And what the trial run is just identify people to evaluate the business. It's like you said, Kevin, 2 to 4 people to put in front of the video, see if they know the right people.
And I close, my close is this. Look, it appears you have somewhat of an interest, but and I have a way to see whether or not the business is right for you and you're right for the business. And it's a very simple thing. I've got a 3-day trial size of our #1 selling line of products called Isotonics. You saw it mentioned in the video there. I've got a 3-day trial size. Just participate in this 3-day trial size survey, and let's put 2 to 4 people in front. front of this business to see if they have any interest, and if you, try the product, we get a couple people to look at the business, I think we'll be able to make an educated decision as to whether to get started or not.
I love it. Simple. Now, after the evaluation, it's, time to take them on the trial run. We talked about that, and we talked about, selling the products, or start with the trial size, packets. Also tickets. I want to make sure that everyone knows how important it is to always have tickets on you, because you can't sell a ticket that you don't have. But selling a ticket to the next local seminar, the next Basic 5, or the next, international convention is crucial, because it's about them going into to validate the business. And I like to say, listen, at the next this Saturday we have a local seminar. A trainer, Don Martin, is coming in, and he's going to be teaching people on how the day-to-day operations works, like for an unfranchised owner. Now, you'll be able to meet a lot of other people in the business as well. Now, if you want, the reason I want you to meet them is because if you don't like them, and you can't stand them for 2 to 3 minutes, you can't work with them for 2 to 3 years. So it's important that we get together and meet the larger group. So always have your tickets on you. Do 3-way calls in between point of contact. We want to make sure that we're doing 3-way calls, introducing them to new teammates, and get referrals for products. Once they tried the products, they might fall in love with it. It's a great time to ask, hey, who else do you know that would like to try a product like this? I've got more samples that I can give out. And the same thing with the business. Mm-hmm.
And these are all things we can be doing, immediately in the follow-up process. These are all follow-up activities that, we need to, implement and execute. But number one is actually getting that individual to the next event, like a local seminar, might be a leadership school or a convention or whatever. But we got to get them to a major event, okay? And the reason is it validates the business. Andrew may be my very, very, very best friend. I see him every day and everything. But the thing is I'm not going to have as much influence, believe it or not, as the multitudes of people at the local seminar, where Andrew actually sees that there are people succeeding in the business, making, achieving things that they desired. They need. It's the old adage, I'll believe it when I see it. So we want to get people to see it as quickly as possible. Okay.
Right. And so, it's crucial to schedule a follow-up appointment. We gauge a successful appointment. An appointment is successful not based on how well or how smooth the plan was, or how happy everybody felt. An appointment is successful if a follow-up was booked. So after booking the follow-up, it could be for several reasons. It could be to answer more questions. So when you're booking a follow-up to get for them to learn more about the business, get together to answer questions, get them to lead to other people, sell products, and lead to and sell the tickets. But if it's to get them to get started, then the follow-up appointment should be reviewing the getting started guide. This is where what we go through before we sponsor somebody into the business. It could be to sell tickets. We always want to make sure that that is a prerequisite. Somebody's committed to attending the next event. Now, we also want to book the registration date ahead of time and help qualify the top 10 possibilities, because now we can rinse and repeat and do the same things over with them, because every new partner we get into our organization is an additional 100 names that we have access to,
right,
to find the right people. Now, HBPs are a great way to expose the business, especially for a new business owner. You can leverage your team and leverage your time. You will have more people seeing the business at once, and it's a fun way of building, the business. We get to build. There's so many different, so many different things working at the same time at a home business presentation. But we're not going to spend too much time on this tonight. There is a document. Just search for home presentations on your support materials. It goes through very detailed, a breakdown on what to do, how to prepare, how to invite people to attend home business presentations. Kevin, let's talk real quick about professional language and handling objections before we wrap up for the evening. All right. So, professional language. If and I used to say, "Oh, I joined this company. I joined Market America." Is that something we want to say?
No. I would refrain from, using the word joined, using the word I'm a member, using the word I do, using the word, using acronyms, UBP. Remember, they don't know what a UBP is.
Right.
They don't, so using slang or using, the thing is we're a viable, credible, legitimate legal business. We spend so much time trying to convince an individual that we're speaking to that it's not another one of those things. So, my big thing is don't use language that, makes you take 2 steps back after you took 1 step forward.
But instead use language that a professional would use, like I started my own business. Yeah, I work for myself, or instead of there's a UBP meeting, there's a business presentation on Tuesday night. We'd love to invite would love for you to attend. Same thing, instead of jargon, like 1200, I hit 12 and 12, got my first check, or my sponsor's name is Dan, or, I already have people below me. Those are terminologies that only people that have been in the business would understand.
Right. They understand it's slang, but hit, kind of implies or infers that it's a game. Sponsor, it's like what you immigrated from someplace. Below me, it has a negative connotation, like, people are underlings or something. So just be careful. Words are powerful, and you got to be careful. Use professional. I earned. I have a business partner. Okay, whether they're a senior business partner or a junior business partner. Okay, my business is already growing, and expanding, that type of thing.
Right. Now, let's go through some of the most common objections. So let's say, Kevin, somebody comes after seeing the plan, says, "You know what, thank you, Kevin, for showing this to me, but I just don't have any time."
That's normal. I mean, we all have we're using 24 hours a day, 7 days a week already before they're even introduced to the business, and we acknowledge that. But the thing is are we making useful time with respect to, achieving or, what you want or what you are trying to avoid? So the thing is if you don't have time, you must be coming in contact with a lot of people, and that's great. I love busy people, because they have access to more potential business partners.
Right. And and busy people get things done.
That's right.
Yeah. And the good news is it doesn't take up all of your time, as compared to building up a business from the ground up. So always acknowledge the comment and follow with your solution. So here's a great way to acknowledge any any objection that we may come across. Listen, Kevin, I know how you feel. I felt the same way when I was looking at this, but here's what I found out. It doesn't take that much time, and instead it takes some figuring out on how to integrate this into what we're currently doing, and it could result into an additional stream of income.
And it's always whatever you found is was your way of solving the objection they brought up.
Right. You got it. And same thing goes for I just don't have the money. So when somebody says I don't have the money, what can we say
We're going to do the same thing. We're going to do the same thing. 99% of the people that don't have the money do, that establish their own business, whether it be a Subway, a Domino's, whatever it may be. Guess what they're going to do? They're going to use other people's money.
Yeah.
They're going to use other people's money.
Mhm.
That's how it works. That's how people trust me, these big high-rise buildings that are being built, okay, the people that own that building or having it built, they're using other people's money to build that building. They're borrowing the money, okay, if you will. We're not going to borrow the money. What we're going to do is we're going to go out, create some sales that we would be creating anyway. We're going to take the profit that we generate from the sales, and we're going to use it to start up your business.
Right. So that's the good news. If somebody doesn't have the money, well, I love what you just said. We don't need to go on a seed run or a Series A. Like we the good news is we've got a platform that can generate income right from day one, and we've got products that are already pre-selected and ready to go in our fulfillment centers. So let's roll our sleeves up and move some product, and that could generate that would generate your initial income run. Now, how about somebody that says, let me think about it? I love this one.
Let's get back, then great. What are some of the things that you need to think about? I want to have them declare and identify what are some of the things they need to think about, whether it's the cost to get started, whether, it's, I'm not sure if I know anyone, what is it that you need to think about so, that I can be clear so that I can help you the next time we get back together, or maybe clarify anything you need right now. Okay, I don't want you to make a decision. You got to understand, there is no decision to make. I just want to know, would you be willing to try some of our product, and would you be willing to put 2 to 3 people, in front of this business to have them evaluate it? Other than that, what, with respect to those objectives, what do you need to think about there?
Right.
Whether 2 to 3 people, or whether or not you're in the market for any of the products, goods, or services that you saw in the video.
Right. Yeah, and a lot of times it's also, whereas sometimes it's important to understand the tonality, to recognize the tonality about it. Sometimes people just want to be nice and say, hey, you know what, thank you for this, but they're backing up, their body language is already backing up, and they're saying, I'm going to think about it. I'll think about it. I'll get back to you. That's a nice way. It's important for us to recognize that as a nice way of people saying, no, not right now.
I'm not interested, not right now. And at least it allows you to come back 3 months from now, 6 months from now, and revisit with them. If you try to force them, you try to, you end up maybe burning a bridge that would, could be, have been very productive 6 months from now.
Right. Here's the last one, Kevin. I'm not interested. Before seeing the plan, I'm not interested, and after seeing the plan, what would you?
Well, if somebody says before, if they say to me, hey, I'm just not interested. Well, what are you not interested in? Well, I'm not interested in what you're doing. I'm like, okay, fine. Next. You got to understand, I'm thinking of see, here's what I'm thinking. I'm looking for the right people.
Mm-hmm.
A person that is going to give me that type of an answer before they even took a look. Okay. One, they don't want anything more than they currently have, apparently, or they're not willing to even look at something, or they're ready to make a decision based on something they've never even seen yet. I don't know if I want that person in my business. I don't want them spreading that kind of that attitude or that thought process to any of my people that are a part of my team, to be honest. Be careful. I don't want everybody.
Right.
Okay. Not anybody can be on my team. That's how I look at it. When I
That's
go
it.
look at, when I'm conversing, I'm looking for the right people. I'm not looking for anybody.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know that, and we got to get into that, like, you know, into that mindset. Just like if I owned a traditional business and we're going to hire some people. Okay. I'm not hiring the first person that walks through the door just because they say I want the job.
Right.
Okay. And if they're not interested after this seeing the plan, great. My goal is, hey, how about, you know, we get together, you know, I touch back with you maybe 3 months from now, 6 months from now. That'd be okay. If I gave them an out, they're going to say, yeah, perfect. Boom. They feel relieved. You know, they didn't have to make up a white lie. That's
Right.
great, because let me tell you what, things may change between now and 3 months or now and 6 months, you know, in their life, to where all of a sudden they're in the market. They have a demand for something like this.
Right. And their name goes back on the possibilities list.
Yeah, I just put them right down at the bottom.
Yeah. Great. Well, you know, that was a very informative, you know, segment, Kevin. I really enjoyed you know, learning from you and this quick back and forth. This team, I hope you did pick something up from our little session of prospecting, qualifying, and sponsoring. But next week we will be coming back on Wednesday at 8 p.m. with Dr. Deidre Mason, who will be doing a session on detox done right. It's going to be a retailing session where we can invite our customers, and you know, Dr. D will be explaining and talking about the NutriClean 7-day cleanse as part of our product spotlight for you know, our product spotlight for the month. But Kevin, any closing remarks from you?
No, just everybody have a good evening. What's left of it for you there. I'm getting ready to start my day here in Taipei, Taiwan, and getting ready for a big annual convention. That's a very exciting time. We'll have about 18,500 people absolutely going crazy,
Yeah.
for 2 days. So we got the grand UBP Friday night. That's always a big thing. It's just amazing. The energy, the excitement, the enthusiasm. Really, it's inspiring, and it gets my batteries recharged.
I love it. Have a great weekend, Kevin. And
Everybody,
team,
you take care.
we've got a quick video for you that you can share with your customers to invite them to join us next week on our retail segment.
Hello everyone, it's Dr. D, and I want to invite you to an evening of health and wellness. Yep, on May 10th, 8 p.m., we're going to get together and we're going to talk about some important topics in health and nutrition. In particular, where do you get started if you're just now deciding to get involved with a new supplement or health regimen? Where do you get started if you want to jumpstart a weight management program? Is there one place that you can get started when it comes to really setting off better energy throughout the day, better metabolic function through life, and ultimately achieving your health and wellness goals? We believe the hub to all of this is found in the gut. I hope you'll join me May 10th, 8 p.m. Eastern Time for a discussion about supporting your healthy detoxification pathways and the role of soluble fiber in longevity, weight management, and jumpstarting the right health and wellness program for you. Can't wait to see you.